Good afternoon all. Now we are going to discuss about electrodynamometer, electrostatic and induction type instruments in this particular segment. This will be the discussion outline. Mainly we will be going through electrodynamometer type instrument, where the detailed discussion regarding torque equation, DC and AC operation, and special type of construction like electrodynamometer type ammeter or voltmeter and wattmeter. Then we are going to discuss about error in ED type instruments, then scale of ED type instruments, and merits and demerits of electrodynamometer type instruments, and lastly to finish with the merits and demerits of ED instrument. Anyway, next we are going to study about electrostatic instruments, construction of various types, relative merits and demerits, and a similar analogy with induction type instruments like construction types, merits and demerits. So this is the constructional view of a electrodynamometer type instrument that you can see. In electrodynamometer construction, two types of coils are there: fixed coils and moving coil. This one, and the fixed coil is broken into two parts to minimize the magnetic field. I mean to say, as it will be operating in AC, so mutual inductance between two coils will be arise. So in order to make that uniform, fixed coil are divided into two equal halves. So that you can see fixed coil, another fixed coil. This is moving coil attached with a pointer, and the pointer will move around a graduated scale. Okay. And here the construction, it will be connected to supply. Now here particular this type of construction, the moving coil and the fixed coils are connected in series. Okay, so this is basically a very basic type of construction. And here also you can see that the scale is not uniform, like from 0 to 10 it is so clamped, but 10 to 20 is so wide rather than this. So this is a following a square law, and we will be deriving it through the torque equation. So next we are going to discuss about the torque equation of electrodynamometer type instruments. Basically we have taken the construction. Here you can see there are two constructions, fixed coil and moving coil. Fixed coil is connected into two equal halves. Okay, so now we are going to perform the torque equation. The fixed coil is given into two halves, so basically it is a single coil, and the second set of coil is a moving coil. So we have assumed them separately as two different set of coils, like that you are seeing on the figure. In coil number 1, EMF induced is E1, current flowing is I1, and self inductance is L1. For the second coil, the relative values are E2, I2 and L2 respectively, and the mutual inductance between these two coils is M. Okay, I think you know what is mutual inductance, the effect of current flowing in the second coil on the first coil and vice versa. So this is the thing that I have said already. And then flux linkage in coil number 1, that is 1, right? That will be psi 1, that is actually because the self inductance of the coil and mutual inductance of the second coil. So that's why it is L1 I1 plus M into I2. And similarly psi 2, that is the flux linkage in the second coil, will be L2 I2 plus M I1. Okay, so basically EMF is induced due to two parts. One is due to the self inductance and current flowing in the same coil, and mutual inductance and current flowing in the second coil, and that's why the psi 1 is due to L1 I1 and Mi2, and similar case for psi 2. Now EMF induced, you know the change of rate of flux linkage, that is E1 equal to d psi 1 dt. So ddt of L1 I1 plus Mi2. From here E1 we can get the easily the value of E1. So E1 into dt, if we multiply both sides of this equation by dt, so we will get this expression. Similarly from E2 we get E2 dt will be this equation, and E1 dt, E2 dt we got. So that is what? Voltage into time, voltage into time. So if electrical energy input, total electrical energy input in both the coils is required, that means this is your one coil and that is your another coil. Here E1, here E2, here I1, here I2. This is L1, this is L2, and mutual is M. So total electrical energy input will be what? E1 I1 dt plus E2 I2 dt. And so far we got E1 dt and E2 dt. So that's why the total electrical energy input EE will be E1 I1 dt plus E2 I2 dt. Okay, E1 I1 dt plus E2 I2 dt, and we got E1 dt and E2 dt. So E1 I1 dt will be I1 into this one, and E2 I2 dt will be I2 into this one. So that's I have shown over here, I1 into this one plus I2 into this one. Expand this. By expanding this we can have this expression, because now we are assuming every parameter is dependent, no independent parameter is there. That's why it is expressed in so many terms will be there in this particular expression. Okay, I1 L1 d of I1 plus I1 square into d of L1 plus I1 I2 dm plus I1 m di2. Similarly we can expand the second terms also, and there we get this expression that you are seeing on the screen. Okay, if you are having any doubt, I will request all of you to solve this expression by yourself, and you will get it by yourself. What we are doing here, we are basically taking the concept of differential. Anyway, next is energy stored in magnetic field. You know that energy stored in magnetic field where mutual inductance is observed, that will be due to both the coils and due to mutual inductance. So there will be three terms. First one due to self inductance of coil number 1 half L1 I1 square. Second term will be that due to self inductance of the second coil, that is half L2 I2 square. And the third term will be due to the mutual inductance effects and current in both the coils. That's why it will be M I1 I2. Now change in stored energy level, DEM will be what? We will take the differential of this expression, and that will be this one, D of EM. Okay, now you expand this, you will get this expression. Okay, you can verify it by your written calculations, hand driven calculations. Okay, it is very easy. I have just taken the differential of each term. Like here it will be first I1 will be variable, L1 will be taken as independent, then L1 will be variable and I1 will be taken as independent. Similarly for the second term as well as the third term, and then we will be getting the following expression that you are seeing on the screen. Again I am saying you that you can verify this by hand written calculations, and this is very important because in subjective type questions this thing is very common and it has been often asked. Anyway, now according to law of conservation of energy, total input is what total electrical energy that you are supplying, that is having two parts. One part is changing the stored energy level, and the other part is showing some mechanical work done, or you can say mechanical work done also. Instead of mechanical energy, mechanical work done. Okay, and so the mechanical energy or work done, that is what, so that will be total input minus change in stored energy. Okay, so what is total input? EE, that we have obtained, E1 I1 dt plus E2 I2 dt minus DEM in the previous slide that we have seen. So by doing so, EE minus DEM, we will got this expression. That again I will tell you to verify by yourself. I think if you proceed correctly, this result will come. I am not showing that calculation because it is very elementary calculations, okay, and unnecessarily I am not wasting the time, but you have to verify it by yourself. Now here in this expression, you know that self inductance in a particular coil, that is constant. So L1, L2, these things are constant. So that's why mechanical energy becomes what? These terms, L1 is constant, so dL1 is 0, L2 is constant, so dL2 is 0. So mechanical energy or mechanical work done, that is I1 I2 dm. Okay, let it name as expression number A. So it is one format from where we get the expression for mechanical energy. Again, from where we are getting this? By applying law of conservation of energy. Total input is changed in stored energy and mechanical energy. So total input is divided into two parts. From there we get one expression of mechanical energy, and by physics we know that mechanical work done, sorry, I skipped one slide, I guess. And from physics we know that mechanical work done equal to torque into deflection. So Ti into d theta, that is expression number B. So comparing, by the way, you don't worry, you will get the slide that you are being shown on the screen, you will get it in your WhatsApps, okay. So Ti into d theta, that is the torque into deflection, that is the other expression of mechanical energy. So comparing expression number A and B, we get that Ti d theta equal to I1 I2 dm, or in other words Ti, that is instantaneous torque or instantaneous deflection torque, that will be equal to I1 I2 dm d theta. Okay. Now there are two cases. One is, you know that electrodynamometer type instrument is called as transfer instrument because it can work both AC and DC, maintaining its accuracy. So in DC, its application is deflection torque is I1 I2 dm d theta. In controlling torque, it is a spring control device, so Tc equal to k theta, and in equilibrium, controlling torque and deflecting torque will be equal. So this will be the working equation, and from there we got that theta equal to I1 I2 by k into dm d theta. So in electrodynamometer type instruments, there will be two currents. One is in fixed coil, another is in moving coil. So the deflection will be proportional to the product of both of them and the rate of change of mutual inductance with respect to deflection. If we can make that constant dm d theta constant, then theta is proportional to I1 I2. That is the application on DC. On a similar analogy, we can find the operation on AC also. Now what we have found, Ti equal to I1 I2 dm d theta, that is the instantaneous deflection torque. But we have to find the deflection torque, that is average deflection torque over a complete cycle, and that is found by Td equal to 1 by tau, where tau is a time constant, 1 by tau integration 0 to tau Ti dt. And here in this case dm if you put the value Ti, that is I1 I2 dm d theta, and dm d theta is out, is here in this case this is independent, so that's why we are taking it outside the integral. So it will be dm d theta into 1 by tau integration 0 to tau I1 I2 dt. Okay, but tau is the time period, and in steady state theta equal to, you know, again like the DC application, in steady state Tc, that is controlling torque, equal to deflecting torque or Td. So Tc is what, k theta. So k theta is equal to this thing. So theta will be equal to 1 by k dm d theta into 1 by tau integration 0 to tau I1 I2 dt. Okay, and this is a generalized AC application. Now one thing you should know, that AC does not mean that the waveform is always sinusoidal. Okay, whatever discussion that we have carried out so far, that is a general AC only. So any type of AC waveform, whether that is sinusoidal or triangular, that will be valid over it. But in a special case, if sinusoidal waveform or sinusoidal current is only concerned, then let I1 I2, there Im1 sin omega t, and let I2 is having a phase lag of phi, so that will be Im2 sin omega t minus phi. Okay, let. So now what will be the expression for Td? Dm d theta 1 by tau, here for sinusoidal from tau is 2 pi, so integration limit is also from 0 to 2 pi, Im1 sin omega t, Im2 sin omega t minus phi d of omega t. So TD will be equal to IM1 IM2 divided by these two will be coming. So IM1 and IM2 are constant and it is taking out. If you can continue with this expression, you get that the format is 2 sin A sin B format. You take IM1 and IM2 out of the integration because they are constant, then you are having a format like sin A sin B d omega t. So you take the form sin A sin B 2 sin A sin B and express it, and you will get that this expression will be you will do it by yourself. I am leaving it because it is again very elementary and very simple calculation. I am not showing in detail. However, if you are having any trouble, you can ask. I will show it in detail, but I think you can do it. So it is 2 sin A sin B format. From that you will get that if you simplify it, you will get TD equal to IM1 IM2 by 2 cos phi dm d theta. Okay. Now this 2 can be taken as root 2 into root 2. So Im1 by root 2 into Im2 by root 2 into cos phi into dm d theta. And you know the maximum value by root 2, that shows the RMS value. So it will be I1 RMS, I2 RMS, cos phi dm d theta. So that is what happens in sinusoidal current for electrodynamometer type instrument. Okay. So here you have to only remember that the time period is 2 pi and the sin A sin B format that you have to simplify. So sin omega t, and the other is having a phase lag of phi, so sin omega t minus phi. Now in steady state, T is equal to TD and K theta equal to I1 I2 cos phi dm d theta. So theta equal to I1 I2 by K cos phi dm d theta. So that is the complete torque equation for AC operation in case of a electrodynamometer type instrument. Okay. I1 is the current through fixed coil, I2 is the current through the moving coil, and cos phi is the angle between the two field. That is the thing. Now we will be talking about the electrodynamometer type instrument as an ammeter. Here you see FC stands for the fixed coil and MC stands for the moving coil. Okay. As an ammeter, you know that there will be a shunt, and this shunt will be connected across the moving coil, and this will limit the current flow through the meter. And another thing, the fixed coil is always made of thicker wire. Okay, thick wire. Now here what happens, you know that the working expression is TD equal to I1 I2 by K. If it is AC, then there will be cos phi. In case of DC, phi is 0, so this will be 1, cos phi will be 1 dm d theta. That is the expression that you know. Now here in this case you can see that the fixed coil and moving coil are connected in series. Shunt is just for your current safety. So basically I1 and I2 are connected in series. Although we can apply current divider rule, then we got that I2 is a certain fraction of I1. Okay. So basically TD will be some constant into I1 square by K cos phi dm d theta. That I will be showing you on the next slide. One minute. This machine is having a relative trouble, so pardon me for that. So we are discussing electrodynamometer the instrument as an ammeter. So now here you can see that this I1 is a fixed coil and moving coil connected in series. And one thing you should maintain that the inductance to resistance ratio, that is L by R ratio of this branch and that branch, should be made as nearly as possible so that the undesired frequency effect can be minimized. In the next slide it will be shown L by R ratio of moving coil and shunt should be same to make the meter deflection independent of frequency. You may ask why? Because what is ammeter? Some voltage is applied over here and divided by the resistance, impedance. Now you are applying this device in case of DC no problem, but in case of AC you are having two branches where if suppose this is Z1 and this is Z2, and Z1 is, if you know, Z equal to R plus J X. So if, and this X term is frequency dependent. So in a particular frequency your device may work well, but in the other frequency the value of X becomes different. So Z becomes different. So V by Z becomes different. Same current flowing, but due to the frequency the current is actually becoming different. So that's why to eliminate that error, the L by R ratio of both these two branches should be made as nearly as possible. Now in the diagram you can see that I1 and I2 are connected in series. So basically and this is a resistive element, purely resistive elements, shunt. So there will not be any phase lag between I1 and I2, they are co-phasal. And as this is so phi equal to 0 degree. So your expression becomes theta equal to I1 I2 by K cos 0 degree dmt theta. And now you apply current divider rule in I2. Current divider rule in I2. This is the whole current I1. Certain fraction is coming through I2, the other fraction is coming through shunt. Now you know that what is current divider rule? I2, here in this case it will be I2 equal to I1 into resistance of this branch divided by resistance of this branch. Now resistance of these two things are constant, so I can say that I2 is a certain fraction of I1. That's what I have written here. I1 into K dash I1. K dash is a constant, okay, into dm d theta. Now in this expression K dash and K are constants, so making it as a different constant K double dash. So theta is equal to K dash, K double dash I1 square dmt theta. So theta is proportional to I1 square. So that's why the scale is non-uniform. It is proportional to the square of the current passing through it, and that's why it can work on DC as well as on AC. Next is electrodynamometer type voltmeter. Here you can see the connection. These are the fixed coils. Again it is connected in series, and moving coil is connected in between them to eliminate the undesirable mutual inductance effect, and the whole assembly is passed through a highly non-inductive resistance R. Okay, so from supply I is coming and I is passing. Again here also you can see that I1 and I2 are connected in series. So phi equal to 0 degree, and I1 I1 is the current through the fixed coil and I2 is current through the moving coil, and they are same, basically they are connected in series, no shunt element is present here, so that we can write that I1 equal to I2. Let it be as I, and what is I? Voltage divided by the total impedance of the system, so V by Z. Okay, so what is TD? TD equal to I1 I2. Now I1 I2 is same, that is I, that is V by Z. So V square, I mean to say I square, so that will be ITD equal to V square by Z square cos 0 degree dm d theta. Okay, or in other words theta equal to V square divided by kz square dm d theta. So theta is proportional to V square. Okay, so this application, but one thing, that electrodynamometer type voltmeter has very low sensitivity in the range of 10 to 30 ohm per volt, but the accuracy is high, that is okay, but the sensitivity is very low. Next is electrodynamometer type wattmeter. Here we will brief it, and while discussing about the measurement of power, there we will be discussing in detail. So there are two parts. The fixed coils are said as current coils, so it will be connected directly to this in series with the supply, and the other coil, that means the moving coil, that will be connected across the supply. So in series with the supply will be fixed coil, which is actually known as current coil, and in parallel with the supply will be the moving coil, which is here in this case known as PC or pressure coil or voltage coil. So basically this thing is taking care about current and this thing is taking care about voltage. So let us look at the torque equation. Theta equal to I1 V2 by Kz into I1 V by Kz into cos phi dm d theta. I1 I2 is V by Z. So I1 I2 by K cos phi dm d theta, that is the working expression, and here in this case I2 is V by Z. So I1 V2 by Z into 1 by K into cos phi dm d theta. Okay. So now this K and Z are constant for a particular machine, particular instrument. So theta equal to K dash into V into I into cos phi into dm d theta, and Vi cos phi, you know that is the active power P. So theta is proportional to power. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about error in electrodynamometer type instruments. Obviously the torque to weight ratio is very small. If 100 to 200 milliampere current passes, it is that's why the torque ratio is very low, torque to weight ratio. Apart from that, it is bulk in size, so as the size is more, the weight is more, and that's why if weight is more, torque to weight ratio is less. Okay. Then chances of frequency error, already I have discussed that in case of electrodynamometer type instruments, the L by R ratio should be made as nearly equal as possible, but that is always not achievable. That's why some frequency error takes place. Next is metal parts in the coil support induces eddy current in the instrument. Next is external magnetic field affects its performance. A separate arrangement is made which tries to eliminate the effect of external magnetic field, and that is known as aesthetic construction. That is an expensive usage. Okay. Next is temperature change causes error in the reading of this type of instruments. That is also evident. Next is scale of ED type instruments. In this diagram, let the fixed coil having a current I1 and the moving coil having a current of I2, and both are making an angle theta. That will be evident from the figure also, from the very first figure also. Here, let the current carrying by the fixed coil is I1 and the current carrying by the moving coil is M2, I2, and the angle between them is theta. Later, this connection. That means I1 and I2 are separately connected. I mean to say, fixed coils and moving coils are separately connected. If that is the case, so always it is not that dm d theta is not constant. To make that constant, we try to make it as uniform or as constant as possible. We already I have told you that the fixed coils are connected in two equal halves, but till then also always it is not made constant. So in that case, dm d theta will be taken as m max into sine theta. Okay, dm d theta will be m max sine theta. So that is also varying the value of dm d theta also varies sinusoidally, m max sine theta. So theta will be equal to I1 I2 by K into m max. You know what is the expression? Theta equal to I1 I2 by K cos phi dm d theta. Now dm d theta gives you m max sine theta and cos phi is there. So it is giving you theta equal to I1 I2 by K m max cos phi sine theta. Now practically, field due to fixed coil is also not uniform, hence by careful design its response may come in close proximity of true square law. Advantages of electrodynamometer type instruments. Due to air core coil, hysteresis and eddy current losses are minimized. Now in precision grade electrodynamometer type instruments, a good accuracy is maintained and the frequency range may vary from 40 to 500 Hz. Whereas in case of lower grade instruments, that can work in the range of 15 to 1000 Hz, and aesthetic system, already I have told you, which avoids the effect of external magnetic field, it can work up to 10 kHz. Now the accuracy of electrodynamometer type instruments is maintained both in AC and DC irrespective of the waveform. That's why it is used as a transfer instrument. Transfer instrument means the same calibration is valid for AC waveform as well as DC waveform. So whenever you are changing your instrument use from AC to DC, you need not to calibrate it again. Now drawback. Already we have discussed that the low torque to weight ratio as well as low sensitivity is a huge drawback of this type of instrument. Besides, it is very expensive than PMMC or MI. Due to higher weight, the frictional loss is more. It is sensitive to overloads and mechanical impact. It requires large force for smaller operating torque, and the scale is non-uniform. Next, we are going to start a discussion about electrostatic instrument. See, mainly this electrostatic, so far we have done our discussion with those devices which creates a magnetic field for its usage. Now, in electrostatic instrument, electrostatic field is used for creating the operating force. So it is a different category. Now here in this case, external magnetic field is not going to affect the instrument because it is electrostatic field and that will be magnetic field. Now mainly electrostatic instruments are used as voltmeter. With external accessories though, they can measure current or power. Now TD produced by, there are two type of construction attraction type, there are two types of forces that will taking place in electrostatic instruments, either force of attraction or force of repulsion. So the deflecting torque is produced by either attraction or repulsion on charged bodies. Okay, charged bodies. So that's why the name is electrostatic. This is the very simple construction. A is a fixed plate, B is a moving plate, S is a control spring, and P is a fixed point. Now, if you charge both the plates, then what will happen? Either if you charge them separately or in a same polarity, both will be charged, and due to depending on their charge, either a force of attraction or force of repulsion will take place, and we are going to find that thing. Now the current, so basically it is working as a capacitor, you know, two plates separated by a dielectric medium. So capacitive current IC equal to dq dt or ddt of CV, that is C dV dt plus V dc dt. So input will be what? The voltage that will be supplied into the current and dt. Input means energy, input energy. So voltage, current, time. So V, the applied voltage, IC is the current, and dt is the time, small time interval. So VIC dt. So far we had got IC is this one. So VIC dt will be CV dV plus VDC, because IC dt will be CdV plus VDC and VIC dt will be CV dV plus V square DC. So initial energy is what? Half CV square, and final energy is what? Half into C, which is going to change. So when the plate is at initial position, the capacitance was C. After the displacement towards or outwards from the fixed plate, it will be DC. Similarly, initially the potential difference between them was V. After the displacement, the potential will be V plus dV. So the final energy will be half into C plus dC into V plus dV square. So initial energy is expressed as A and final energy, let it be expressed as V. So from A and B, we can do B minus A to get the change in internal energy. So if you do B minus A, you will got that the change in input energy, not exactly input energy, we should write it as change in field strength.